This is it. This is the Caucasian, a second look. Genesis chapter 9 verse 27. It reads, God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. This is identity theft. Genesis chapter 9 verse 27 is referring to the Caucasian stealing the identity of Shem, and Shem refers to the house of Israel. And it is this identity that has been stolen by the Caucasian. But this is not the only identity that was stolen. The Caucasian, he has stolen the identity of all black people in Africa, all the ancient nations and kingdoms and rulers. Their identity has been stolen by the Caucasian. The Caucasian whitewashed all of black history and black civilization, making them white albinos that suffer from OCA 1 to 7. The Caucasian is a liar, a deceiver, and a warmonger. Lies. Proverbs chapter 6, verses 16 to 19. It reads, "These 6 things the Lord hates, 7 are an abomination unto him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked imaginations, feet that are swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaks lies, and he that sow discord among brethren." This is a description of the behavior of the Caucasian, and these are the things that the Caucasian do. One of the many lies told by the Caucasian is that he is supreme and superior to the black man and black woman. Hence the concept, the false notion of white supremacy. But white supremacy is a lie. The Caucasian is not superior to the black man and black woman, and the Caucasian cannot be equal to the black man and black woman because the Caucasian cannot produce melanin pigment. The Caucasian has melanin pigment, and melanin is a disorder, a disease, a mutation. The various mutations of the Caucasian makes the Caucasian inferior to the black man and black woman. The black man and black woman must know thyself, and to know yourself is to know melanin. There is greater melanin pigmentation within the vestibular system of the black man and black woman than it is in the Caucasian. The vestibular system is a part of the inner ear that is involved with balance. Within the inner ear of black people, there is a lot of melanin, a lot of melanin, which means the black man and black woman, they are far balanced than the Caucasian. The Caucasian does not have melanin. He has melanin, which is a disorder, and within the inner ear of the Caucasian is melanin. This means the Caucasian is far less balanced than black people. The equilibrium, which is the vestibular system, the equilibrium in black people is far greater than the equilibrium in Caucasians. This is because the equilibrium in black people is based upon melanin, and the equilibrium in Caucasians, this is based upon melanin, and melanin is a mutation. Thus, the black man and the black woman, they are far more balanced than the Caucasian. The black man and black woman, they have neuromelanin, And neuromelanin is melanin of the nervous system. The nervous system of the black man and black woman is very different from the nervous system of the Caucasian. Neuromelanin in black people is coated with eumelanin. The nervous system in the Caucasian is not coated with eumelanin. It is based on pheomelanin, and it is not the same as the nervous system of black people. The nervous system in the Caucasian is weaker, and it is susceptible to many diseases because of its various mutations, and these mutations are from the pheomelanin, which is the makeup of all Caucasians, all Mediterraneans, and all olive people. The Caucasian is very sick, and he suffers from many, many diseases. And this is due to his genetic mutations. Chronic sickness and disease is the biological makeup of all Caucasians. Knowing how sick the Caucasian is makes it very clear that Yeshua cannot be white, Mediterranean, or olive. The Book of Noah. In the Book of Noah, in chapter 106, verses 1 to 6, it reads, "After some days my son Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech, and she became pregnant by him and bore a son. And his body was white as snow, and red as the blooming of a rose, and the hair of his head and his long locks were white as wool." From this passage, we know that the offspring of the fallen angels are white and red. Lamech said his son was white and red, and he says this is like the sons of God, the angels. Noah was not an albino. He was born with a white and red hue, but his skin darkened as he aged. Noah was not a light-skinned person either. He was a black man, black and brown. The reason for the white and red hue of Noah is that this is a symbol. It symbolizes God's judgment on the offspring of the fallen angels. The offspring of the fallen angels, they are white and red, and this is the pheomelanin. And God set in Noah white and red to symbolize judgment, the judgment that is coming on the fallen angels and their offsprings. And this judgment, it was the flood. The name of Noah, it means comfort. And this also symbolizes through Noah, the earth will be comforted from the evils of the Nephilim. And so the hue, the white and red hue that Noah was born with, that is a symbol of the coming flood. The white and red hue mentioned by Lamech, this is the genetic and biological makeup of the Caucasian, and this is from the fallen angels. This means the Caucasian is not in the image of God. The Caucasian is in the image of Satan, the fallen angels. The black man and the black woman, they are in the image of God. But the Caucasian is in the image of the fallen angels. It is very important for the black man and black woman to know and realize that the Caucasian is not the creation of God. God did not create the Caucasian. The Caucasian is a hybrid race, and this hybrid race is the creation of the fallen angels through sin of fornication. The land areas called Europe, Asia, North America, South America, and Australia, these land areas, they are the locations where the Caucasian hid all the things that he stole from Africa. The Caucasians hid them in the so-called continents. These are the land areas outside of Africa. And these land areas, they are the territories of cave people. And a caveman is the same as the wild man. The Caucasian has conjured up the current names we see today for the people located in Europe, Asia, North America. And he created these names based on the Greek word Golanitis. The Caucasian shortened the word Golanitis. He shortened that word to Gaul, and from Gaul, he created the current names used today in application to the Caucasian race living outside of Africa. As we look at some of these names, we will see that they are built on Gaul. The Caucasian uses the terms Slavs and Celts, but Slavs and Celts, they are Gauls. The important thing to notice is that Slavs, Celts, and Gauls, they were never a people in history. No one in history identified themselves as Gauls, Slavs, or Celts. Golanitis, this is the Greek word for the Hebrew word Golan, and Golan was a city of refuge in the tribe of Manasseh. The Caucasian took Golanitis and shortened it to Gaul. Then he created many tribes of people that never existed. All countries outside of Africa were constructed by the Caucasian, where each name of each country is based on Gaul. Benjamin Franklin, he wrote an essay in 1751. And this essay, it is titled, America as a Land of Opportunity. Within this essay, Benjamin Franklin states the following, which leads me to add one remark, that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally small. All Africa is black or tawny, Asia chiefly tawny, America, exclusive of the newcomers, wholly so, and in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also. The Saxons only excepted, who with the English make the principal body of white people on the face of the earth. This was written by Benjamin Franklin in 1751. In this essay, Benjamin Franklin says Asia, Europe, and North America were all black, and this was written in 1751, which means in 1751 and prior to 1751, the continents were all black. Now we have an accurate idea as to when the continents became white. They became white in the 18th and 19th centuries. Prior to these 2 centuries, every continent was black. There were no white people ruling anything. According to Benjamin Franklin, the Saxons and English were the principal body of white people on earth. This means the Saxon and the English, these are the 2 groups of Caucasians that whitewash all of black history. This means the Saxons and the English are the 2 groups of Caucasians that stole all of black history and stole all of Africa. These are the people that rewrote history, giving history a European perspective, whitewashing black Asia, whitewashing black Europe, whitewashing black North America. These are the group of Caucasians that stole all of Africa and placed it in land areas outside of Africa. Benjamin Franklin wrote this essay in 1751, and he said, Asia, Europe, Africa, America, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, Swedes, and Germans, they are all swarthy complexion. They are all black people. This lets us know that the whitewashing did not happen yet. The world was still black when Benjamin Franklin wrote this essay. This also lets us know that the whitewashing did not begin until the 18th and 19th centuries. In his essay, Benjamin Franklin, he mentions the white and red, and this is in reference to the Caucasian. The white and red is also mentioned in the Book of Giants, and the white and red is a genetic mutation that all Caucasians, all Mediterraneans, and all olive people have and suffer from. To be white and red is to have pheomelanin, and pheomelanin is a genetic mutation. It is OCA 1 to 7. The Caucasian, he is the same as the Nephilim. He's just smaller in stature. Both the Nephilim and the Caucasian, they share similar DNA. Chinese is a Caucasian that suffers from OCA 1 to 7. The Chinese and all Asian people are Caucasians, and they stole the identity of the Black Medes and the Black Persians. The original Chinese is black, and these black people, they are the Sand people in Africa, also called Khoisan. The Khoisan is the original Asian people that exist today. The real history of the Chinese and all Asian people is that they are the descendants of fallen angels. In the geographical locations of China, Japan, Mongol, Taiwan, Vietnam, Cambodia, and the rest, in these areas are many, many caves where the Neanderthal and Denisovan dwelt. The evolutionary chart, it applies to the European and it applies to the Asian, where both are hybrid races of beings that are not human and descend from fallen angels. The Chinese is a wild man that suffers from hypotrichosis, just like the European. Dark Age in Asia. The story of the Chinese and all so-called Asian people, their story, it mimics the story of the European, where there was a dark age, then there was a form of a rebirth, a renaissance, then an enlightenment period followed. And afterwards, a new civilization arose with new advancements for the human species. Chinese history is a copy of Europeans' history. And Chinese history, just like the European history, it is stolen history of black history. Not only is it stolen history of black history, it is a history designed to cover up the real history of the Chinese and all Asian people. The real history of the Chinese and all Asian people is the same as the Europeans' history. The Chinese and all Asian people are the offspring of fallen angels, and they are Caucasian albinos that suffer from OCA 1 to 7. All history is black history, and Chinese history is stolen history of black history. The Chinese and Asian people are doing their best to write themselves into black history. Hence, they stole the black history of the black Medes and the black Persians. They stole the geographical roadway that the black people in Africa built and designed in a mesh or network format connecting one kingdom to another. The Chinese stole this topology of a roadway and applied it to their own geographical area outside of Africa. And in the 19th century, they called it the Silk Road. The Silk Road that came from Africa. It is the roadway designed by ancient black kingdoms in Botswana and used as a main trade route between different nations in Botswana. This roadway, it is still visible today. The Caucasian is 99% the same genome as the chimpanzee. The Caucasian is closer to the ape with animalistic behavior. Hence, the Caucasian mimics the dog or any four-legged animal by crawling on all fours. The terrestrial locomotion of the Caucasian, mimicking animals. This behavior has become a science where many Caucasians claim some form of benefit, such as burning calories and muscular conditioning. The Caucasian has given a name for his animalistic behavior, calling it quadrupedal movement. The Caucasian is trying to normalize his animalistic behavior. He is trying to make it acceptable and trying to make it as a normal behavior with some benefits for the human body. This is an example of the psychosis of the Caucasian, where he interprets reality in a strange, sick, twisted, delusional, and unusual way. The Caucasian suffers from hypotrichosis, and hypotrichosis is seen in the Caucasian dwelling in all continents except Africa. Only the Caucasian suffers with hypotrichosis. The black man and black woman, they do not go through this mutated state of being. Black people in Africa, they do not experience hypotrichosis. This is a mutation that only the Caucasian experience, and this experience is the Caucasian's history, being a descendant of the wild man and fallen angels. Hypotrichosis is the evidence that the Caucasian descends from the wild man and the fallen angels. Hair removal. The Chinese is a Caucasian, and the history of the Chinese is a copy of the Europeans' history. Both beings, they are the same history, and both are the descendants of fallen angels. The European and the Chinese are wild men that suffer from hypotrichosis. The European and Chinese remove their excessive hair through various means, one of which is laser hair removal. The global hair removal industry was valued at $4 billion in 2019, and it is projected to reach $4.9 billion by 2027. This means there are a lot of Caucasians spending money, lots of money, to get their excessive hair removed and to keep it removed. The hair removal industry includes the Chinese Caucasian and all Asian people, and it includes people from India. The black Arabs, which are the Moors, they came to Asia and they sold other black people as slaves to the Chinese Caucasian. There were a lot of black slaves in China. The black slaves, they built many, many things in China, just like the black slaves built America. Chinese history is the same as European history, where both are built on lies, deceptions, and cruel and inhumane treatment of black people. The black people sold to the Chinese by the Arabs, they were taken to China in ships, and many of the black people died en route to China. The black people, they suffered various diseases on the ships, such as fever, dysentery, and smallpox. These diseases were frequent upon the ships, and the black people, they were treated very inhumanely by the Chinese. The Chinese, like the Europeans, they are new to the earth, and they have not been here very long. The Chinese fabricated history of the Han Dynasty is built on lies. The Han Dynasty and other dynasties claimed by the Chinese, they never existed. They were made up out of thin air. The Chinese is writing himself into black history, and he is doing so by stealing the identity and history of the black Persians and the black Medes. Interbreeding took place in India and in China and in other areas in the East throughout Asia. The evidence for this is the fact that the people in India and China, they both have Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA in their system. The Chinese Caucasian and all Asians Caucasians, they have the same history as the European Caucasian, where they both are descendants of the wild man and the fallen angels. The Asian Caucasian and European Caucasian have extra DNA from the Neanderthal and Denisovan, and these beings are not human. The Caucasian was not created by God, and the Caucasian is not in the image of God. The Caucasian, he is in the image of Satan, the fallen angel. Benjamin Franklin, he left some very revealing information that speaks to the truth of black history. Benjamin Franklin wrote a letter in 1751, and in the letter, he said that Europe is all black, Asia is all black, Africa is all black, and the Spaniards, Italian, French, Russian, Swedes, German, they are what we call a swarthy complexion. Benjamin Franklin went on to say that the Saxons and English, they make up the principal body of white people on the face of the earth. The black Arabs, they invented gunpowder and they invented the gun. We have been lied to with the lie that the Chinese invented the gunpowder. But how can the Chinese invent gunpowder when they were living in caves as wild men and they were illiterate? The Chinese did not invent gunpowder. It is well documented that the black Arabs, they invented gunpowder and the gun. The black Arabs made the mistake of introducing the gun to the Caucasian. The Caucasian went through a Renaissance period, then he went through an Enlightenment period where he started using reasoning. Guns were introduced to this type of Caucasian, and the Caucasian took advantage of the gun and eventually used the gun against the black Moors and drove them out of Europe. The Caucasian began to rule with the help of the gun that was introduced to him by the black Arabs, and the black Arabs, they are the Moors. The Caucasian's behavior is one of violence, instability, aggression, unstable personality. Added to this is the calcified pineal gland, which is 80 to 90% non-functional. Without a functioning pineal gland, all molecules and chemicals will not function properly. The Caucasian is an animal that tries to behave like a human. Because of his genetic deficiencies, the Caucasian has an obsessive-compulsive behavior, and this behavior, it is seen in racism. The Caucasian, with his genetic deficiencies, he distorts reality, and this is a psychosis, a mental disorder. The Caucasian is an inferior being, and because of his mental disorder, his psychosis, and his depigmentation and lack of melanin, he distorts reality and calls himself superior. The Caucasian can never be superior nor equal to the black man and black woman because the Caucasian cannot produce melanin pigment. The Caucasian is a cannibal. Many of the black slaves that were sold, they were sold not just to till the ground and pick cotton. Many of them were sold for food for the Caucasian. The black man and the black woman, they became the delectable Negro. They were eaten by the Caucasian. The Overman. Artificial intelligence is the last stage in the evolutionary process of the Caucasian. An AI with mind uploading, it will eventually rule the world. Africa is the Holy Land. It is where life began. It is where the Garden of Eden is located. It is where civilization began. All land outside of Africa is the territory of fallen angels and the wild man. It is the territory of the Caucasian, and the Caucasian is an albino mutant that suffers from OCA 1 to 7, and he suffers from hypotrichosis, and he descends from the fallen angels.